So I have a story for you.
Oh, right out the gate. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Talking to my mom the other day, she goes, your father and I had a friend who's avoiding the draft for Vietnam War, and he went AOL. And I said, what? Yeah, he went AOL for a while. And I said, he went America Online? And she said, what did I say? I said, you said AOL, and what I think you meant was AWOL. And she's like, you knew what I meant.
And then she's like, don't talk about this on the radio.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Janet. Hello, Joey.
Hello, Yellow Marie Marsh. How you doing on this beautiful Sunday?
I'm doing well. It is the Lord's Day, and I am wearing a beanie in the dead of summer, which means my hair is dirty.
Yeah, listen, that's fine. You're not even supposed to wash your hair every day. You're only supposed to do it like once every, 12 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. I'm on track. I'm on perfect track. I'm making patchouli oil on my scalp. Gross! Welcome down, bitches and new listeners. How are you? Welcome to I Think Not, the podcast where we tell embarrassing stories of our moms, friends, and pretty much anybody, including ourselves.
It's true, but tell them what else we do.
We also recap your favorite true crime TV shows. My name is Ellen Marsh, and across from me is the pride-filled, for only one more day, my love. It is July tomorrow. Joseph Taranto, old blue eyes, we like to call him.
Let's wrap it up, y'all. Pride is exhausting. Being gay is exhausting. It's expensive. I'm tired. I want to put my feet up. I need a massage. No more gays for a while.
Well, I'll tell you, I was at Michael's because we're having a paint party tonight. And by the way, we do quarterly paint parties on our Patreon with all of our bonus content and all our bonus stuff. Go check that out at patreon.com/IThinkNot. Bonus episodes. Anyway, we're having a paint party tonight for a fundraiser, and I was at Michael's. All the Pride stuff was half off. They were like, there was your month. Get all this rainbow shit out of here. Guess what they had up? Guess what they had up, Joey?
What?
Not even July 1st. Hands to God. Halloween. They had Halloween stuff. Halloween stuff everywhere. They had skulls. They had pumpkins. They had black cats. They had everything. Aisles and aisles of Halloween. Halloween's not till October. It's not even July. It's not even the 4th of July. It's not even Labor Day. And they already got the Halloween stuff. I can't handle it. I can't handle the season pushing.
You know what Halloween is?
What?
Every day at my apartment in New York City.
Yeah, well, that is true. I promise we do talk about true crime, but season pushing is sort of true crimey. Calm down. Everyone pump the brakes. I don't need life to go any faster than it already does.
I agree.
All right, thank you. Great. Also, join our Patreon. We got all kinds of stuff. Speaking of which, the show that we are covering this month is called Southern Fried Homicide, and we actually covered 10 episodes of it on the Patreon, and we've had loads of people asking us to bring it back because it is a good show for one reason and one reason only.
What is that?
Obviously, Shanna Banana from Louisiana that we met in Atlanta, the narrator, but also these reenactments, they were made for us.
They're so rich. They're like weird after-school specials meet Lifetime television for women.
It is so bad, with an oddly large budget for Jessica McClintock gunny sack dresses. More on that later. But we're going to go 4 episodes here, and there are 10 episodes over on the Patreon, along with tons of other shows. Tell them what shows, baby.
Well, we've also got I Almost Got Away With It, which is my favorite, See No Evil, Fry Thy Neighbor. We've got Snapped. We've got all kinds of, lots and lots of shows. I mean, listen, if you're looking to ignore your kids on a summer vacation while you're driving to Boise, Idaho, sign up for our Patreon, put your headphones in, and we'll squawk in your ears. You don't have to listen to those kids. They sneeze Cheetos on you. Watch out.
And before we get to the show, we just want to say that we have our 3 final tour dates of this tour. We're going to be in Denver, July 12th, Austin, Texas, July 18th, and Pittsburgh, July 20th. And from Denver, we will be live streaming the show. You can find all that information on our Linktree, on our Instagram. You can watch it for up to a week. You can watch it.
Yep.
You can watch it 20 times. You can invite your friends over. You can put a big screen up in your living room. You can do whatever you want. So if you're not going to be able to catch us, we would love for you to live stream that ticket. A portion of those proceeds are going to be going to the victim organizations that the True Crime Podcast Festival has put together. That is all available on their website, but we will, of course, be publishing it once all of that goes through. So get a virtual ticket if you can't see us live.
Yeah, well, hey, we have a good time. Don't worry. And every show is different because we do a lot of dumb shit.
We do a lot of dumb shit, including the show you're about to hear. Shall we jump in, my love?
Yes, we shall.
Season 3, Episode 1 of Southern Fried Homicide, The Perfect Poisoner.
If you're looking for a true picture of Southern gentility, you'll find it in the Hillies, a beautiful Alabama family with the perfect life.
Wonderful people. They were seen as just a cut above the rest.
But what you see isn't always what you get.
I don't know what it was, but something just wasn't quite right.
Something evil is simmering beneath the surface of this pretty picture.
It was all very dramatic, and the whole town was in an uproar.
A toxic brew of compulsion, betrayal, and stone-cold madness.
It was a never-ending, unbelievable series of atrocities, like something out of a Stephen King novel.
This story just got more interesting every minute. It stays with me still.
Well, giddy up, cowgirls, and get your corn pone ready. Call your cousin Chicken George and tell little Jethro to go to bed because we are back with Southern Fried Homicide. Our case today takes place in the small town of Anniston, Alabama, which is the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And a man named Michael Hilly says the words I never ever want to hear about any place, anytime, anywhere, anyhow.
You knew your neighbors knew you. If you did something wrong, the neighbor was likely going to be calling your parents to let them know what you did before you got home.
You don't know me. Don't come knocking on my door. Don't ask for sugar. Don't ask for advice. The only thing I got at my house is crazy, and you don't want to entertain that. Trust me.
Well, that was an amazing introduction.
Thank
you. So as I said before, Shanna Banana is here. Now, Shanna is an amazing artist. She is in our Facebook group. And I'm a little bummed because we covered season 1 and we got to see Shanna all the time in her floral dresses doing some kind of chore. She was always raking the leaves or macrameing or pouring lemonade or something. And now all we have is a voiceover.
I know. I feel robbed. I want to see her sipping some tea on the front porch of some random house.
I hate that, but I do love her accent. Don't be fooled. It's fake. Love you, Shanna. But Shanna tells us,
Life in the South tends to move a little slower than most other places.
ooh, don't
What?
you feel like she was calling Southern people, right? Like,
No, that's not what she was saying.
she was saying you guys are a little bit like,
No, that's not what she was saying. No. What
Okay.
she was saying is that it's too hot to be running. We can't run in 101-degree heat with 100% humidity. We're not slow. And that's rich coming from you over in Oakland with all the hippies and the pot smokers and the patchouli-wearing deodorants. And no, I don't think so.
well, she tells us that we're right outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and she says the town is traditional and gentilly, which is code for we're a little bit racist, and we're gonna keep those racist statues in our town squares, and we're not gonna allow the gays in church, and we don't really like women either.
Is that what that's code for?
I think so, isn't it? It's traditional.
Well,
and it's gentilly.
so the subject of our story is the Hilly family back in the 1970s. And they are true Southern genteel people, a shining example of what a small town family in Alabama should be. The family consisted of Mama Marie, Daddy Frank, and their 2 kids, Carol and Mike.
Yeah, and we know they're a good Southern family because the reenactment actors are all wearing floral.
Yep.
And one of them says, "Who would like some nice fresh lemonade?" Oh, we're in the South. We're in the South, you guys.
And
They
I
love
helped.
lemonade. You know those Southern people love lemonade. They love lemonade.
I mean, I'm from the South, but everybody loves lemonade. I was at a child's birthday party yesterday in Los Angeles, and I drank a bucket of lemonade. Homemade lemonade.
yeah, well. You
So
were
Marie-
in the south of California, so my
Okay.
statement stands.
Fine. Well, Marie worked as a secretary for several prominent businessmen. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? Secretary was the word they used, okay?
I'm just administrative assistant, okay?
Okay. Well, her husband Frank was a blue-collar worker with high standards. Now, we are told that Mama Marie cared a lot about how she looked. She was always put together, and that started in her childhood. Buckle up, y'all, because this reenactment, it's the spice of life.
Well, we go back to 1943 when Marie was 10 years old, and they tell us she was spoiled, she got everything she wanted, and we see little 10-year-old reenactment Marie, who is clearly the director's daughter.
Yeah.
Like, she lives in New Rochelle. Her name is Rachel Rubenstein, and her dad is like, "You're going to be a star." And we get her line, "That little girl knows somebody."
It's divine. I mean, I'm sure her parents sat her down and they're like, just watch Gone with the Wind and go for Scarlett O'Hara. That's all we need. She is so over the top.
All the other girls are gonna be green with envy. It's divine.
Divine. That's how I'm going to describe everything now. How was your night? How was your date last night? It was divine.
I'll do it with you.
Okay. Well, anyway, little Marie got everything she wanted. Everything. She never got punished. She was treated like a princess, and that shit will come back to bite you in the ass, let me tell you. So by high school, Marie is a knockout, and she can have any beau she wants.
And she had her eyes set on Frank Hilly, and Frank Hilly was besotted with her.
Yeah,
he was besotted. He was like, "I want the bee and the boobies."
Uh-huh.
I don't know where this is going.
It's
He
okay.
adored her. She was the center of his life. Fast forward 20 years, and we're in the 1970s, and they have their 2 kids, Michael and Carol, and they're living the grand old life. Did I tell you they have lemonade?
Well, Michael's away at college, so Marie puts all of her energy into her daughter, Carol. She wants to make her basically a mini Marie, right? But here's the thing. Carol had other plans. She didn't give a fiddler's fuck about appearances the way her mom did. She was doing her own thing, and that was a point of contention. Now, listen, this is not a judgment. This is just me using my spidey senses. The vibes I get from Carol... She is serving you lesbian butch realness. We love that. We love lesbians. Thank God for lesbians. There are all kinds. And Carol is giving you Southern, I know how to rotate your tires lesbian.
Oh, absolutely. She's giving you, I have a rewards card from Lowe's, for sure. Which we love. And I felt the same way. And I did go to her Facebook, and she does have a partner, and she's living her life. She's Auntie Carol. I peeped at all of her pictures. She has a dog, and yeah. So what they were getting at was she was sort of, quote, a tomboy. You know I don't like that word, but it paints a picture because Marie, she's in the florals and the hair, and she's wearing her pearl necklace every day, and little Carol wasn't into that.
And her dad, Frank, often stuck up for her. He would tell his wife, Marie, leave her alone. Just let her be. And that's probably why Carol and Papa Frank were so much closer, much to the chagrin of Marie. In fact, she was quite jealous of their relationship, and she also was a fucking drama queen.
My mom used to call me Sarah Bernhardt, not to be confused with Sandra Bernhardt. Sarah Bernhardt was like an old stage actress from like Yore and Yesteryear. And I was like a little over the top, like, oh, just being a little drama queen. Marie was a grown-ass adult doing shit like that. Like, I've got the vapors. You're going to give me a heart attack. Like, pipe down. No.
I should.
Ma'am.
My Starbucks card is full. I should have a free coffee. I'm getting the vapors. If you don't give me a vanilla cold brew, I'm not going to make it.
Ma'am, this is a Hobby Lobby. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If things weren't going her way, Marie got the fucking vapors. Her health was basically contingent on her contentment. She would pitch a fit and hold her heart when she didn't get her way. I'm like, we already have a Sanford and Son. I'm coming, Elizabeth. We don't need another one. Okay, you're fine. I've been around many people like that, and all I can say is it is exhausting. I'm like, let the vapors carry you to Jesus. Let the vapors be a chariot that sweeps you up to the good Lord, because I promise you he's the only one who can deal with your bullshit. And even God would probably be like, you're kind of being a bitch.
You know those people, though, who always have something wrong with them?
Yes.
You know who was like that?
Who? Oh, right. Yes.
I've got phlegm. I've got sinuses. I've got a headache. I've got the meat sweats.
I can't have
To
gluten.
to the point where and I would sit backstage, and every day right before her song, she would say something that was wrong. We kept a list. We kept a running list. I have it. I literally have it. Always something wrong. Like, just never was like, hey, how's everyone? I'm fine.
I'm just like, the calls are coming from in the house. Maybe take the phone off the receiver. And Marie coped with all of this by shopping.
Oh, yeah. Clothes, shoes, really whatever she wanted. But what she
Expensive
wanted
ones.
was more than she had.
Yeah. And she ended up putting herself in debt. And that definitely caught up with her and ended up affecting her husband, Frank. So now we hit fall of 1974, and Papa Frank ain't feeling too good. He's what we call in church on the sick and shut-in list.
That's a thing?
Oh, that's a
like
thing.
for people to go and visit?
It's very Southern. I'm like, oh, I'm on the sick and shut-in list. I'm not going to make Sunday service. So this was weird because Frank was always healthy as a horse, but now he's pale. His eyes are red. The man was out of it.
Yeah, he was lethargic and just like sick. Basically, the way that they could describe it was like flu symptoms.
Yeah.
Like when just kind of like everything hurts when you have the flu. And he wasn't getting better. And that is just the worst. I had the flu once for a couple weeks. Well, it wasn't the flu as much as it was just like an actual just deep depression. And it was just easier to tell people that I had the flu.
Yep.
But it was really exhausting too.
How's that flu working out for you now?
Honestly, great. Great. Anytime I have the flu, they're like, she's in a place.
So, yeah, this man had no energy whatsoever. And 6 months later, Frank is out of it. And the doctors have no idea what's going on. And one night, Marie found him wandering in the backyard because he was so out of it, absolutely delirious. So Marie rushes Frank to the hospital. At this point, he has jaundice, and he's not there. Do you know what I mean? He's there, but he's not there.
Yeah, and this reenactment hospital, you can tell the budget definitely went to the gunny sack dresses, the Jessica McClintock dresses, because they're just like put him in a bed with a wooden cross over his bed. They're like, that looks like a hospital. We're good. And Carol is here, and she is sobbing. She tore my heart apart. Like, you might have thought that her dad died the day before they shot this.
Yeah.
She was just saying she felt so alone, and it seemed like he was
Her protector.
the person who saw her, who understood her, and she's just devastated. Didn't it feel so visceral when she was crying? It wasn't just a tear. She was sobbing.
Oh, my heart broke for her because it was clear that he was her protector, and now she had no one to protect her from her mother. And so an autopsy is performed where it is discovered that Frank had an enlarged liver, pneumonia, and inflammation of the stomach. But the question is, what caused that? And the doctors could only guess. They thought perhaps it pertained to his job because he was around a lot of toxic materials. So, son Michael goes back to school, and he eventually becomes a minister and starts his own family. Speaking of ministers, okay.
Do you know any?
I did. I did. Did you ever stop and watch televangelists growing up, like in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
There was one in particular who was so over the top. His name was Robert Tilton, and he was sued for fraud, but he spoke in heavy tongues, like, you know, and eventually someone dubbed farts over them.
Oh,
and
yes, I know that one. Yes.
And deemed him the farting preacher, which they sold on VHS, and it's maybe one of my favorite things. DBs, please enjoy.
He is preparing for you as we even speak. I smell heaven's bakery cooking up something good for you, sister. If God's got to send a bird, he'll send a bird. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. And now listen to this. You go a little further. You get the one, God's for you. You get, he's with you. And then the last biggie, God's in you.
are grown people. We are grown. We are middle-aged.
I love it. Farts always make me laugh. So, anyway, son Michael was worried about his mother being alone, but she had her own mother living with her, and she had Carol. So, something that also helped, Frank had a $42,000 life insurance policy, which is the equivalent to just about $250,000 in 2024.
Look at you adjusting for inflation, baby.
I
You
know,
are so cute. How are you this handsome and this smart? Look at you adjusting for the movement of the American dollar.
What did we do before Google?
$42,000 sounds like a lot of money, even for that period of time. But she went through it in a hurry.
She bought me a car. She bought my brother a car. She bought herself a car. She bought clothes. She bought shoes. It was like, he's dead, I got freedom, I'm taking the money, and she went to spending.
I'm going to ignore my debt, obla-dee, obla-da, life goes on, bruh.
Yeah, she's like, I am moving on. That's a good amount of money. You know, I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to buy my kids a car. I'm going to buy some jewelry. I'm going to buy some clothes. And Marie was burning through that money. I mean, $42,000 back then should get you pretty far. It didn't get her very far.
No, and she also told anyone who would listen, y'all, did you know I was richer than God? I got money. Well, after losing Frank, Marie had a real fear of losing her family members. So how does one quell such a fear? I'll tell you. They take out life insurance policies on their children.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, in fact, all of her family members. And it's a good thing she did because tragedy is just around the corner.
It sure is. Grandma Lucille is diagnosed with breast cancer. And it turns out that they do kind of a pretty advanced procedure, and she bounces back. But then the cancer came back. So Michael at this point is like, my mom needs me. She's a widow, my sister, now Grandma Lucille. So Michael packs up his wife and moves back to the area to be with his mom and his grandmother. And then he realizes how much things have changed since he's been gone and how much his mom has changed. And I don't mean like she dressing up in muumuus like Mrs. Roper and living her muumuu era. No,
that would be fabulous.
That would be really, really fun. Now she's got a tinge of the crazy.
Yeah, she is very paranoid. She started calling the cops all the time, saying things like, help, my home's been burgled, or help, I'm being stalked. She called them over anything and everything, and each time the police would come.
And on one occasion, investigators find something suspicious that just might prove someone is out to get Marie and her family.
There's a note on the back door that said, you better leave now, or we will get you.
I have a question. Who the fuck is we? Was it Columbia House trying to collect those 5 pennies for the 10 VHS tapes?
Yeah, there are people listening right now who probably are still being chased by Columbia House creditors. That was such a fucking racket. I never
Everyone
got my
is so
penny
confused.
C's.
So confused. The police don't have any leads. They're like, why would someone want to get Marie? Who knows?
And Marie's like, I am scared for my life. Oh, here come the vapors. I need help. Didn't you see that note?
Sauce.
That is a scary, scary note. I need some lemonade.
The only thing that's going to make me feel better is a brand new 3.4 ounce bottle of white diamonds.
Is that Elizabeth Taylor?
It sure is. She's prettier than Elizabeth Taylor. So, name that movie.
I don't know.
It's Hairspray. Divine was so funny in the original Hairspray with John Waters. Yeah. It's absurd. Revisit the movie. Anyway, so in October of 1979, the family moves across town in hopes of a fresh start. And Marie and her daughter Carol move in with Papa Frank's sister Frida, while son Michael and his wife search for a place nearby. Did y'all follow all that? It was a lot. That was given Game of Thrones.
So it's time for Carol's senior prom. And she's getting ready for prom, and she's actually like, you know what, let's do the dress and the hair and the makeup thing. I know I'm a lesbian in the 70s. and I know I'm never going to put on a dress again, but let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And Marie is in heaven. She is doing her makeup and her hair, and she's getting her all dolled up, and she's making her into the pretty, pretty princess daughter that she already wanted. And Carol says she had really good memories of that night. She was like, it was actually a great time. Like, I wore a dress. It was a blast. She's like, I don't do that anymore. I stick to my cargo pants, obviously. But
Yes.
that one time was really fun. Well, the next day, reenactment Carol gets home and she's not feeling well. She has an upset stomach, and we know that she's not feeling well because she's in her southern floral bedspread with plastic on the lampshades. Why was there plastic on the lampshades?
That can't be safe.
I mean, I feel like the set designer was like, listen, I bought these at Bob's Discount Furnitures, but I'm going to return them as soon as this shoot is over. So you keep those plastic on those lampshades, because I'm not paying $69.99 for both of those things. Absolutely not. I only had a $100 budget, and that includes the gunny sack dresses.
Wouldn't that plastic melt from the heat from the light bulb? I mean, I'm no veterinarian, but I mean, isn't that how that works?
I don't know. Someone will tell us. Someone will write in. Yeah, she was nauseous. She couldn't stand up. And Carol says, this is the sickest I had ever been, and I have never been as sick as I was then. Now, everyone's kind of like feeling a little bit of deja vu because these symptoms are oddly similar to Papa Frank's symptoms.
Yeah.
So then, Mama Marie takes her to the doctor, and the doctor gives some really shocking and pretty stupid news.
Yeah, okay. He says to Marie, well, you know what I think is going on here is your daughter's very thin, so she must be anorexic, and her symptoms are psychosomatic. Now, that is interesting because Marie was literally spoon-feeding her, like never leaving her side, so she knew she was eating, but Marie just went along with that narrative. Quite odd.
Yeah. And she was like, I wasn't hungry. And Carol was like, I was down to 81 pounds. So that makes sense. But one thing had nothing to do with the other. She wasn't sick because she was thin. She was thin because she was sick.
Right. Well, their answer to that was to put Carol in a psychiatric ward for analysis. And Mama Marie told doctors that Carol was having episodes where she would pull her hair out. She was very withdrawn, refused to see her friends. Carol's like, none of that was true. Yeah. And all I could think in that psychiatric ward was, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and she has no real strength to be like, excuse me, pardon me, I'm not antisocial. I haven't been able to leave my couch. Poor thing. And so during this time, they also find out that Grandma Lucille passed from her cancer. So now poor Michael is like, my dramatic mother is getting the vapors and imagining burglars in the house. My sister Carol is sick with God knows what. My grandmother is dying. My mom is still spending all this money that she doesn't have on these fucking Jessica McClintock dresses. Nobody knows what's happening.
Well, one day, daughter Carol asks the nurse, hey, do you know where my mom is? And the nurse is like, oh, she's in jail.
Yeah, just like
Come on, my what? What? This girl can't get a break. Poor Carol. Carol's like, let me get this straight. Grandma's dead, mom's in the slammer, and I'm apparently anorexic. Next thing you're going to tell me is John Travolta's gay.
Yay!
She had bought furniture and other things on credit, and she wasn't paying her bills. And she had paid for some things with bad checks. And finally, this all caught up to her.
You know, you forget that people write bad checks all the time. In this day and age, people still write checks. But, like, writing bad checks will get you in prison.
It's stealing.
Yes.
Because when you write a check, you're saying, I'm going to give you this piece of paper, and it's got a number on it. And I have enough dollars to cover that number in my magical account where I don't understand what money is.
Right.
But then when they go get that money and you don't have it, they've given you that money, and that's stealing.
Yeah, it's stealing. So now Marie makes bail, but the damage is done. And son Michael, one night, he has had it with Marie. He sits her down and he's like, what the fuck is going on? I don't want to hear about your vapors. I don't want to hear about the robbers, the burglars. I don't want to hear about you being stalked. I don't want to hear none of it. What the fuck is going on? And Marie did not like that.
Well, nobody likes it when their bullshit is called on them, because then that incites their anger and their defensiveness, and then you're the bad guy, right?
Yep.
Well, then Michael gets a little phone call from Aunt Frida, and Aunt Frida's like, hey, how are ya? I was going to bring you over some peach cobbler. Isn't that your favorite? Say, I was thinking about something. Maybe it was something I should have mentioned a while ago, but neither here nor there. When your dad went to the hospital, he told me Marie had been giving him injections. Yeah, I thought it was weird too. And then I was visiting Carol in the hospital, and your mom was giving her the same injections. I think it's weird. You should investigate it. Bye. I lied about the peach cobbler. Click. A lot of information you've been holding on to.
Michael was like, I could have used that information like 4 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, so maybe I made a little mistake.
Yeah, I think I did something wrong. Listen, Aunt Frida approached Marie when she saw her giving Carol the injections, and she was like, what are you doing? And Marie goes, the nurses are very busy, and they showed me how to give Carol injections. And so I'm just helping them out with their workload. They work too hard. Did you bring that peach cobbler like you said you were going to bring?
Yeah. Well, that's really common when nurses and doctors are like, can you hold this scalpel for a second? Yeah. I just, my wrist is tired. Just open that chest up for me real quick. I'm exhausted.
I mean, imagine.
They're always pawning off their duties to lay people all the time.
Yeah, imagine. Marie, could you scrub in? We are short-staffed. We're going to show you how to ban hemorrhoids. Fair warning, we do it with our teeth here, but you'll get used to it. Hope you brought some antibacterial. What the fuck? No one is asking you to help out with injections?
Yeah.
So Michael hears this, and he's like, what the fuck?
I called Carol to try and confirm that, and I don't think she had a phone in her room. I think she had to walk down a hall and to a desk or something.
I had to hold on to the wall to get to the telephone. When my brother called, and he goes, Carol, is Mom been giving you injections at the hospital? And I said, no. And he said, do you swear? And I said, no. And he goes, is she standing right there? I said, yep.
Michael's like, fuck, I'll call you back.
Yeah, I'll call you back when mommy fucking dearest isn't there and we can have a chance to talk.
Yeah. So when he does call back, Carol says, yes, Mom's been giving me injections. Could you imagine being Michael in this moment? And realizing, I knew my mom was extreme. I knew she was eccentric. I didn't know she was sociopathic.
Yeah. And poor guy, he panics and he calls the hospital and he's like, you need to check on my sister. I know this sounds crazy. I'm fairly certain my mom is trying to poison my sister, Carol. So, sure enough, the doctors go straight, inspect her, and they're looking at her, and they see her fingernails. And they were like, how long have your fingernails been like this? And she's like, a really long time. Well, there are these little white lines on her nails, and they tell us what that means.
Those white lines were created by deposits of a heavy metal.
And I was like, what in the Guns N' Roses is he talking about?
Yeah, they're not talking about Enter Sandman by Metallica. They're talking about legit metals. Poisonous, toxic metals. So they run some tests, and guess what they find in Carol's system?
Well, for those of you who are new to Southern Fried Homicide, and you might have missed our coverage of Deadly Women, there's something that women in the South, they just love. That is Tammy Wynette. And Lily Pulitzer.
And
arsenic.
Yeah, y'all. Arsenic. Carol asks her Aunt Frida, hey, do you think Mom is poisoning me? Do you think that that's what my mom was doing? And Aunt Frida was like, yes! Absolutely, yes. This bitch has been up to no good for a long time. I wish I would have said something, but I was very busy. I was unsure. I didn't want to say too much. Your mom is fucking crazy. I never liked her, and her eyes are too close together. There, I said my piece.
I said what I said, and she's a horrible cook. Her gumbo tastes like ass. She's like, well, I never. And then she's like, oh.
She's like, her mint julep could use a little less mint and a little more julep. You know what I'm saying?
So now they're trying to build a case against Marie. And meanwhile, Marie goes right back to jail for more bad checks. See ya. And even though Carol is obviously the victim of her mom, she still feels really bad. She's like, wait, do I have to press charges against my mom? Like, I want her to be okay. It's very Stockholm Syndrome. Now, remember, Marie has been living with tight-lipped Aunt Frida for a while. Aunt Frida, who really, really knows how to keep a secret. Anyone want a secret kept, you go tell Aunt Frida. She ain't telling nobody.
No, she's not.
So while Marie was in jail, she does what any of us would do. And she goes through Marie's shit.
She sure does. And in one of Marie's drawers, she finds a jar of baby food, a spoon, and fucking rat poison. And all three are tested, and they are positive for arsenic. And that information gets back to Carol. And she knows now for sure, my mother was trying to kill me. You know, my heart breaks for her because it's like, fuck, I lost my dad. My mom is trying to kill me. What the hell is happening? She had me hospitalized. She had me institutionalized. It's wild.
With the evidence against Marie mounting, a judge agrees to have Frank's body exhumed, as well as her mom Lucille, just to be sure. What the pathologist finds leaves the family in utter shock.
They find arsenic in both of their remains, and it rocks this family.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Marie is charged with the attempted murder of Carol. And as soon as Marie is out of sight of Carol, Carol immediately starts to get better.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, thank you. She was trying to kill her daughter.
And then this story hits the local newspaper, and everyone in this town is like, Marie's a bitch! Who would poison their own family? Also, you're giving the town of Aniston a bad name. Fortunately, Jennifer Aniston would turn that around for them eventually, but, you know, that's neither here nor there.
Have you tried Lola V detangling conditioner? It's one of my favorites, made by Jennifer Aniston.
Can I tell you? I use her shampoo and conditioner every 12 weeks. Like, that's how you're supposed to wash your hair. No, I use it every 2 days. It really is so good, and it smells so good. We are not being paid for this. I really do love our products.
I love the leave-in conditioner, and Lola steals the hair oil all the time. The hair oil is really nice. A little goes a long way. Can someone please tell Lola that? Because she fills up like a Sacagawea quarter's worth, a Sacagawea dollar's worth. I'm like, yeah, okay.
What does that even mean? A Sacagawea's what?
You know a Sacagawea dollar? You know those dollars?
Oh. No.
It was like one of those gold dollars.
Got you. You couldn't just say a silver dollar?
I don't know what happens in my brain. I don't ask questions. Listen, I accept myself for who I am.
Yeah.
That is a fucking mess.
Mom, how much hair oil should I use? I don't know, maybe just like a Sacagawea coin's worth? Got it. Thanks, Mom. The fuck? That's so fucking specific. Mom, how much sunscreen should I use? Just a Sacagawea coin's worth. Got it, Mom. Thank you. Mom, how much trouble am I in? A Sacagawea coin's worth of trouble is what you're in. And I'm not playing. I think Mom's mad. Fucking Sacagawea coin. Somebody post a picture of a Sacagawea coin so I know what the fuck Ellen is talking about. And, Ellen
Did Mom bring up the Sacagawea? Yeah, oh, you're fucked.
Ellen, I'm so sorry to hear about your Aunt Frida, but she did leave you her shining collection of Sacagawea coins. I hope it's a small consolation.
I can't breathe. Oh, God. Oh, that got me. Okay.
Under interrogation, Marie is as calm as can be, swearing she'd never try to poison her own flesh and blood.
I have done
done nothing but take care of my family.
Marie never admits to doing any harm to Carol or Frank.
And somehow Marie's bail is only set at $14,000. And she gets people to make donations for her to get out.
I don't understand this monster who trying to kill not only her husband, her own flesh and blood, her child. Like, I mean, there are people that will defend anybody. Like somebody who has 34 criminal counts against them and they still don't believe it. Like, it's just, it's so weird when people don't believe people and then they support criminals.
Well,
it's so weird.
It's quite odd. Well, I think I know who you're talking about. Immediately, Carol goes into hiding. Her lawyer took her to Birmingham, and he's like, just sit here and wait until it's time for trial. But a week later, some friends go to visit Marie, and she done flew the coop, as we say in the South.
What friends?
Yeah.
What friends are going to visit this woman?
Apparently she had some.
Well, her stuff is all over this motel room. Her purse, her trinkets, her arsenic, everything. I don't know. Her arsenic wasn't there. Everything, the contents of her purse are dumped out. It's all dumped out on the bed. And the only thing that isn't there is her ID. And they find a note. And the note says,
if you're reading this, you've been ransacked.
That's what it said. And that's called a full circle moment.
No, tell them what the note actually said.
It said, you led us straight to her. And so her equally dramatic attorney was like, oh my God, she's been kidnapped. That is what, listen, I have watched Murder, She Wrote. Angela Lansbury is a national treasure. She has been kidnapped. Who would want to kidnap this fucking psychopath?
Yeah, and everyone is like, yeah, we ain't buying that bullshit. This woman is on the run.
On January 11th, 1980, Marie is indicted in absentia for Frank's murder. Although police and the FBI launch a massive manhunt, they fail to pick up the scent.
Marie had the capability to blend into any community, to be whomever she wanted to be. That makes it hard to catch someone.
We see reenactment Marie, getting ready to go, I don't know, hide somewhere. And she's putting makeup on, and it's obviously a MAC lipstick, which wasn't founded until 1984. And you know I love busting them on a good continuity moment. God, it feels so good. It honestly, it's times like this I feel better than everyone.
Yeah. You can bet your finest Sacagawea corn that Ellen's gonna get down to the bottom of business.
What kind of lipstick is that? MAC? It's 1980, you say? Beep, bop, boop, bop, bop. Busted.
That lipstick is a lie. Well, here's the thing about Marie. Marie knows how to blend in, and she uses that to advantage. So head on down to Fort Lauderdale with us, would y'all? Meet a newly divorced man named John Homan, who is a quiet man, successful, gullible, and heartbreakingly lonely.
Oh, just a little divorced man drowning in sorrows in a Michelob Ultra.
I think it was a Schlitz.
Sure. So, Reenactment Marie walks into the reenactment bar and orders a reenactment Cosmopolitan.
Yes.
Problem with that. When was the Cosmopolitan invented?
I'm going to guess 98.
1987. You got to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning if you think you're going to fool me, okay?
My God.
You're not ordering a Cosmo in 1980.
We're going to be here all day if you keep doing this.
I know. I'm a problem. Anyway, this psychopath introduces herself as Robbie Hannon. Well, she says she moves to the area to start a new life, which actually isn't a lie.
You're not going to tell them the biggest lie?
Oh, she's like, I've been heartbroken. Two of my kids were
well, no.
What's the
She
biggest
told
lie?
this man she was 35.
Oh.
This bitch is in her 50s.
Was she?
Yes. Remember we went back to 1940 something? She was 10 years old. That means she was born in the 30s. So she's got to be close to 50. I'm 35
you're right.
years
You're right.
old. You ain't 35.
In your bra.
Anyway, yeah, then she goes on telling to she makes up this whole story. One thing y'all gonna find out quickly about Marie is she's a storyteller. She is a writer. She is Anne Rice. She is Emily Dickinson. She is Toni Mitchell. She is an author. She tells stories. She's like, yes, my 2 kids were killed in a car accident, and then my husband died. And John is like, my God, what a tragic life you've had. You are so fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I just want to bounce those boobies like Sugar Ray Leonard. I just want to
Yes, yes. I would love to console your vagina.
Yeah. Let me make you feel better by sliding my pickle in your jar.
Yes, I would love...
Ma'am.
I would like to brighten your day by giving you the shocker. So these 2 hit it off, and eventually they become inseparable.
John had a brother who lived in New Hampshire, and John suggested that they think about moving there. They went, they liked the place, and they moved to the little town of Marlow, New Hampshire.
They just up and moved their life from Florida to New Hampshire, and they started another new life, a second new life, a third new... I don't know what life we're on. She's like a fucking cat over here.
Many lives, many masters. Robbie/Marie gets a job as a secretary, don't yell at me, at a local manufacturing company where everyone loved her. She was a Southern woman in this area. She knew how to use her charm to get folks on her side. And so she really is just like settling into her new life.
And they seem like a pretty normal couple. A year passes in May in 1981. They tie the knot. And even though Robbie doesn't have family there, John's like, it's fine. Not even her identical twin, Terry, who lives in Texas. You heard me. Her identical twin, Terry. As Judge Judy would say,
you're a fibber.
Here's the thing. I hope she's writing all of her lies down, because when you lie this much, it's very hard to keep up. You need a whiteboard for this.
It is true. And I can't stand lying. And the thing is like, John is a chump, right? But don't lie to an overthinker, because it's never going to end well.
No.
And we're going to find that there are some overthinkers later on in the episode. My brain is not primed to believe anything. When something doesn't make sense, I will think about it over and over and over again until it does fucking make sense.
And that's on ADHD. Okay, period.
I don't know why there hasn't been an invention for a liar's pants to automatically catch fire. There's $1 million idea waiting to happen. You're welcome.
Back in Anniston, rumors continue to swirl about the town's most famous fugitive. Some believe she's gone all the way to California. Others think she's been hiding somewhere in the middle of town all this time.
People in Anniston had an idea about Marie as being extremely clever, almost superhuman. And a lot of people said they'll never find her. She's too clever for them.
She was actually becoming the stuff of legend. She was sort of infamous, right? Because this is a quiet, sleepy town. There's not a lot going on, and this woman murdered possibly 2 people and was attempting to murder a 3rd. But sadly, it's Marie's daughter, Carol, who survived this whole ordeal that ended up inheriting all of the town's hatred for her mother. They were looking for an outlet for their frustration, and they chose Carol, which is awful. Her mother fucking poisoned her, had her institutionalized, and now they won't even cash a check for her. I'm like, grow up.
Yeah. So back in New Hampshire, it's the summer of 1982, and Robbie/Marie sits her husband John down, and she's like, listen, I've been to the doctor. There is something wrong with me. I am sick, and my symptoms are sickness. And I have too many sick blood cells, and the doctor says it's bad. I'm sick with monochromatic vaginctitis. I can't explain it, but I need to go to Dallas because it's the only place that knows how to treat my sickness.
Yes, and my sickness, I have been officially diagnosed with illness. And the illness is it's called sickness. And I'm sick.
It's bad. It's
what has
bad.
she got? She's sick with illness. Oh my God. Bless her heart. So she says, I can only go to this one place in Texas where they can treat my diagnosis, my prognosis of illness. And you don't have to come with me. I have to be alone. But don't worry, my twin sister Terry will help me. And John's like,
we're so twinny. We are the twinniest twins you'll ever see.
And John's like, okay, I mean, I guess I just have to accept that. And so she leaves.
Over the next 2 months, John receives periodic updates on Robbie's health. Until one day in November, when he gets an unexpected call.
He gets a call from twin sister Terry telling him that Robbie has died. She
called. We actually have that call.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh, hi, John. It is Robbie's twin, Terry. I'm Robbie's twin, Terry. Terry is my name. Robbie's her name, and we are totally twins.
Oh, got it. Hey, Terry, how are you doing?
Yeah, no, well, I'm good. I'm bad. I'm bad
Oh.
because my twin, Robbie, we're not twins anymore because she's the dead one and I'm the alive one. Yeah, she
What?
died of her. Oh, she died of sickness. She
succumbed to sickness?
She succumbed to her sickness. Now listen, I know you are sad. She wants to donate her body to research. No funeral, no kind of service, because because I'm alive and I'm the twin, and we were only gonna do funerals if we died at the same time, and we didn't, because she's dead and I'm alive. She was sick and I'm alive.
Wow. I don't know what to make of this information. You know, I was really hoping to have a funeral for her, but I guess I just have to do what I always do and just take everything at face value. So I shall do that, Terry.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling me
My
to
name's
tell
Terry.
me. Is there
Twin
anything
Terry. People call me Twin Terry because you can call me Twin Terry.
I like the alliteration on that, Twin Terry. Is there anything I can do for you?
Nothing. Literally nothing. Just hang up the phone and never speak of it again. That's what we'll do. All right, I guess. Bye.
Bye.
Terry, twin out.
Bye, Twin Terry.
Wow.
I just feel like when we get, that's stuff that's, not available to the general
Right.
public. I feel like when we get that sort of behind-the-scenes stuff, I just feel lucky. I'm grateful.
Here at I Think Not, we're thorough.
24 hours after Robbie Hannon Holman dies of a rare blood disease, her husband John is ready to fly to Dallas to see her one last time.
He's like, how do you get an airline ticket? It's 1980-something. Do I go to the airport and buy it?
You do.
How did they get airline tickets back then?
You go to the airport.
You
Or
go
you
to the
through a
airport to
travel-
buy a
Or you
ticket?
go through a travel agent.
Yeah,
Or
travel
you call the airline.
and you're like, I'll write you a check. I'll send you a check. Let me know when you get it.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I mean, you should know. You were in your 50s and the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s were wild.
And so, before John can buy his plane ticket, however they did such things back then, I don't know, Morse code, he gets a knock at the door. And guess who it is? It is Twin
Who?
Terry.
Twin Terry. She's like, hi, I'm Twin Terry. I look just like Robbie, but I'm wearing a blonde wig. And that's the only thing different about us is our hair color. She's got brown hair and I have blonde hair, see?
Yeah. Well, also, Twin Terry just looked like a much thinner Robbie. She was definitely on the thinner side. And she says, I've come here to console you. And he's like, okay, thank you. That was a very quick trip you took, but all right. This woman moves in with John, helps him write Robbie's obituary, goes to Robbie's work, and chats with her coworker. In case you haven't figured this out by now, this is Marie posing as Robbie, posing as her twin. What is this woman doing? What is she doing? It is utterly bizarre.
Oh, first of all, there's only one set of people that don't lie, and that's children. If you don't want to know the truth, don't ask children. Children and leggings. Those are the only two things that and Shakira's hips.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the amount of lies that, when I think about lying, let's just say I want to tell a white lie to get myself out of trouble, or I want to tell a white lie to not hurt someone's feelings. I literally plan 6 years down the line for when that lie is going to come back to me.
Yep.
And I know I'm going to forget it, and I'm going to fuck something up in the story, and then I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't like your show. Because I get so freaked out about lying. These lies, she's like, hi, I'm a totally separate person. I am not the person that's been working here for this long. that you all know inside, and I'm a different person because I got a different name.
It is audacious. It is like, I can't even wrap my head around it. And of course, the coworkers, most of them accept that this was Terry, but a couple were like, something is fishy, and I believe that is Robbie with some weird frosted highlights. What the fuck?
That's what I meant about the overthinkers, because John bought it. They allude to the fact that they were in a romantic relationship. Like, he didn't think that vagina felt familiar. Like,
I have no idea. I mean,
come on.
Well,
be like, your left boobie is bigger than the right boobie, just like your twin. Why, you really are twins.
Yeah, I don't know. It is utterly bizarre.
Certain that Terry is in fact Robbie, a few of her colleagues decide to do some digging of their own, starting with her obituary. In a matter of days, they find some troubling discrepancies.
It said that Robbie was a devout member of the Sacred Heart Church. That did not exist. They quickly realized this church does not exist. And there's so many holes in this obituary. So all of these coworkers / down bitches, they go to their boss and they're like, this is fucked up. That is not Terry. That is fucking Robbie. And the boss is like, yep, let's call the cops. Straight to calling the cops.
Yep. So now she's living her life. She's moved up from Texas. She's moved in with John in New Hampshire. And so the FBI and the police go and they're like, hi, Terry, is it? Can we ask you a couple questions? We feel like you're lying about something. And she's like, you know what? I am exhausted. Number one, I hate lemonade. Okay, there. I fucking said it. And I mean the drink, and I mean Beyonce's future album. That'll make more sense in the future. I have a DeLorean. Yep. Don't ask questions.
Yep.
I'm not Terry. I'm not Robbie. My name is Marie Hilly, and I'm wanted for check fraud in Alabama. And they're like, oh, my God. And they look her up, and they're like, she is wanted for murder.
What? In this moment, it's so weird. Did you think that they were not going to see that you were wanted for murder? Did she think she was going to talk herself out of it? Like, nothing that this woman does make sense. So they arrest her, and she's been on the run for 3 years. And on January 19th, 1983, Marie is sent back to Anniston, Alabama to face the music. And in that spring, Marie goes to trial, and everyone in Anniston has been waiting for this. Everyone. And the goal of the defense was to make Marie's daughter, Carol, look insane. That's what they did. Yeah. They came for her character. They made her look unfit, unwell. And they instructed Marie, do not acknowledge Frank's murder. No matter what. The questions, whatever the narrative is, do not acknowledge it.
And poor Carol. Like, this woman ripped my heart in two. This poor woman loses her dad. Her mom is trying to kill her.
She lost her grandma.
She lost everything this psychotic woman has done. And trying to make her look mentally unstable in court. She was part of that whole narrative. This poor Carol, she just rips my heart out over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's June 1983. The trial lasts a month. And Maria's sentenced to life in prison for her husband Frank's murder and gets an additional 20 years for the attempted murder of Carol.
And through all of this,
oh my God.
Marie / Robbie / Terry, twin Terry's husband John, is still on her side. So much so that he moved to Alabama from New Hampshire to be closer to her.
Well, yeah, because the DA says this.
John Holman remained loyal to her. After all, she'd never tried to murder him, and he had nothing but good feelings for her.
There is nothing more exciting than the bare minimum, isn't there?
Yeah. What's the glue that keeps your marriage together? Mostly she doesn't try to murder me.
Yeah, it's just like, it is, we have a good marriage, am I right? Am I right? This is good.
I mean, if y'all thought that it didn't get crazier, buckle up.
Yeah. I was like, there's 4 minutes left of this episode. What more could there be?
Buckle up. Well, Marie serves her time. She's on her best behavior. And you have to remember, Marie is a charmer. She knows how to get people on her side. And because of her behavior in prison, it leads to the jail giving a convicted murderer weekend passes to leave jail and spend time with her husband, John. Why would they do that?
I thought furlough only existed for deaths in the family, never a murder, somebody who's doing something petty. Like, I thought furlough was a urban legend.
Or
They're
if you're in
just
a halfway
passing
house.
out weekend furloughs to murderers?
Right. Yeah. I mean, on Love After Lockup, we saw Rayanne. She got furloughed for the weekend for Thanksgiving, but she was in a halfway house.
Right.
You're
she
going to give
wasn't
a
in
convicted,
prison.
yeah, you're going to give a convicted murderer a weekend pass. You know that she could murder someone else, right? Like, what is the thought process? And so she would spend a weekend here, a weekend there, holed up in some nearby motel with John. And that leads us to February 22nd, 1987.
So they're in the hotel, and she's like, hey, you know what? I want to go visit my mother's gravesite. He's like, oh, okay. And she goes, alone. So John, who is, who is this man?
I don't know.
He is like Eeyore. Like, he's just like, okay.
He don't have 2 Sacagawea coins to rub together, this man. He is out to lunch. This man has left the building. I don't know if she has beer-flavored nipples and he can't get enough of it because he loves a Schlitz malt liquor. But this man, he has drank the Kool-Aid, literally. And so he's like, go ahead, you go visit your mama's grave by yourself. You do that. You do that little thing. This bitch did not return to prison. She's on the run.
So John's like, fuck. And he calls the police. And the police were like, oh, man, we really thought she was a real model prisoner. I can't believe we let her go for the weekend. And she went on the run.
Jinkies.
Who would have thought that would happen? So now we're on another manhunt for Marie again. How many woman hunts do we have to be on for this fucking crazy person?
Apparently a lot. Well, 4 days later, police get a call from a woman in Blue Mountain, Alabama, and she is freaking the fuck out. Now, mind you, Blue Mountain is Marie's hometown, okay? This caller says, excuse me, I don't mean to bother y'all, but there is a woman crawling outside on her hands and knees up the porch of my house looking like something out of the Exorcist movie. You know what I'm talking about when that little girl comes down the staircase backwards with like a scorpion and she's blood coming out of her mouth? This is
She
what
looked
that
like the girl
looks
from
like.
The Ring.
Literally.
No, is it The Ring? Yeah. What's the one where she comes through the TV?
It's The Ring. That's the only scary movie you've ever seen that terrified the shit out of you, right?
And I slept with the lights on for a week? Yeah. That and Requiem for a Dream.
Ellen, you know what I have to tell you?
What? No. I don't want, no. I see that when I close my eyes. It's etched on the inside of my eyelids.
Yeah, I know. That movie was scary. Well, Marie's a hot mess. Marie, Robbie, Terry, whoever the fuck she is, she's bleeding. She had bruises all over her. Her clothes were ripped up. She's in shit shape. And she can barely speak. So she's rushed to the hospital where she dies of heart failure as a result of hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where the episode ends. And the question here is why? Everyone, including myself, why? And what was the point? Why did she come back as her twin sister Terry and parade herself all over this town in New Hampshire, thinking that no one was going to be the wiser? Why did she fake Robbie's death and come back as Terry? Explain it to me, please. I don't understand. We will never know.
It is the most wild story. And I mean, obviously, she was riddled with all kinds of mental illnesses. We don't know what they were, because she died and they were just always constantly running after her. I mean, she seems like an actual psychopath, like for real.
You think?
I mean, and I don't know if it got worse or how the condition changed, or maybe she was schizophrenic. I have no idea. Why was she in the woods? They said that they didn't say this in the episode, but in my research, they said she had like dirt everywhere, like she had been crawling through the woods. Like there was like dirt under her toenails and her fingernails. Like maybe she had some kind of like mental break.
That's what I would assume.
Oh my God. But you know what? I told you, I looked up Carol and I looked up Mike, and I hope they're happy. I mean, this story, poor
It's
Frank.
wild. It's very tragic. There's so much loss involved, and to never know why, because listen, this was still their mother.
Yeah.
And to be able to sit across from her, although let's be real. She never admitted to anything. She was never going to
No.
give them the answers. But, in hopes that maybe one day she would have some moment of reason and be like, all right, I'm gonna level with y'all. I'm sure that day was never going to come. But the real question is, had Marie always been evil and just hid it well? Or
Right. That's what I mean. If it was like something happened over time, she
Yes.
got sicker. Yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like she had Munchausen, but then she had
Munchausen
Munchausen's
by
by
proxy.
proxy as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It's just odd, and the legacy she left behind was horrible. I feel really bad for Michael and Carol because, I'm sure there's a lot of shame surrounding it, and how do you ever recover from that? Having to live with the idea that your mother killed not just your father and your grandmother, but also tried to kill you.
Yeah. Poor Carol. I want to give her a big squeeze. Say something funny.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, I'd like to introduce to you a new payment method for our Patreon. We are now accepting credit cards, checks, debit cards, cash, and Sacagawea coins. That will put you on the 5. And we're really proud to announce that today. Happy last day of Pride.
Just when you see us, just throw them at us. It's fine.
Throw
It'll
at
count.
Ellen. Don't
Not
throw 'em
count.
at me. No matter what, I'm sure a coin hurts.
Oh, down, bitches. Southern Fried Homicide.
I'm so
I
happy
missed
we're back
this
with this show.
I mean, it is always dark. It is always dark, but this is our kind of show. It's like there is enough outside shit for us to laugh at the ridiculousness and still honor these stories and honor these families and Carol and Michael. But we will be here 4 episodes with Shannon Banana. And don't forget to join us on our live shows. This is it. Once this show goes to bed, we write a new one. And it'll be an all-new barrel of monkeys that we travel around this here United States.
And for those of you who were disappointed about Boston and Atlanta, I know we're disappointed too. But don't you worry, because when we go back out on tour in fall, we will be hitting those cities. So don't you worry.
That is a promise. Don't forget to follow us on social media. That's where you can keep up with anything that we're doing, all of the fun stuff that we do. We have our Patreon movie night coming up. We have tiers starting at $5 going all the way up to our exclusive merch boxes at $80. Find something that fits in your budget. If you think that's a good time, we do a lot of community building. That's something that we have just grown to love about all of our down bitches. And we just keep throwing stuff at you and you keep liking it. So we're just going to keep doing it like the big old dum-dums that we are.
And no matter what, we're just glad you're here. We love you. I love you, Ellen Marsh.
I love you, Joey.
And happy last day of Pride. I really am exhausted.
Being gay's hard. I love you, Joey.
I love you too, Ellen Marie Marsh, and I love you, DBs.
Love you, dumb bitches.